What's going on YouTube? This is Joshua Birdwell here, and just in case you don't already know, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice is going to be out in just a few days. So what better to focus on in this review than the film that preceded it, and that is Man of Steel. The film stars Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, and Russell Crowe. Now this film is a retelling of the origin of Superman, from his birth on the planet Krypton to his youthhood in Smallville, Kansas, and to finally as an adult living in Metropolis. It's hard to believe that this film was released just over 3 years ago, and in the year that it was released was the 75th anniversary of the Man of Steel. When you really think about it, I think that Superman is the reason why the superhero genre is where it is today. I mean, there have been a lot of comics that have taken inspiration from it, and there are a lot of celebrities also that say Superman is their favorite superhero of all time, particularly Jerry Seinfeld. So when this film was going to be released, honestly didn't know what to expect of it. I mean, there were Superman films in the past, but it seems like those films have really been forgotten, and really Superman had really gotten the shaft in recent years. I mean, just really hadn't had a whole lot of focus, and a lot of people seem to not really identify with him anymore. So when this film came out in 2013, it really had a lot of hype for it, and for the most part, it was received. It was received well. I mean, it had its naysayers and lovers of the film and everything. Me myself, I personally liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought the film was really good. So let's go with the pros right here. First of all, the cast is excellent. Henry Cavill did an excellent job as Superman, and he really embraced the role. I think, he's really the best Superman that we have had since Christopher Reeve. Score by Hans Zimmer is really excellent, and I really like the theme that he came up with Superman. Amy Adams, I thought, did a great job as Lois Lane too. I mean, I like the fact that this movie actually, gave her more to do rather than just being the damsel in distress. I mean, yeah, there is one scene in the film in which, she is falling and Superman has to save her, but for the most part, she's very involved in the story. Michael Shannon did a great job as General Zod too. I like the way that he portrayed his character. He wasn't a menace like the Joker in, say, The Dark Knight, but he wasn't like over the top and hokey like Loki in the Avengers. You knew he was a villain that had that had motivations, and you knew what he was fighting for. And I think he really did a good job too. Rewatching this movie, Kevin Costner actually surprised me as Jonathan Kent. I thought he really did a good job, like, being the father of this kid, who's not from this planet and everything. But the one cast member that really surprised me personally was Russell Crowe as Jor-el. I mean, for one, he had a lot more screen time than what I thought he was going to have, and I like the fact that he was more involved in the story than what I thought he was going to do, and he had such a good presence too. I also like the fact that we got to see some of Superman's childhood a little bit too. I mean, in previous incarnations, whether it's comics or whatever, usually it just goes right to him being an adult or him being a teenager in the past. So it was really cool to see him as a kid. So the visual effects were really good too. I mean, rewatching this, for a film that's 3 years old, it still holds up fairly well. And finally, the action. Oh my gosh, finally Superman actually gets to fight somebody. When was the last time we saw that? Actually, you know what? The last time Superman fought in a movie, I don't even want to think about that. We'll get to that in another review. So yeah, those are my pros right there. For some cons, they're just a little minor. The structure of the story at times was a bit off, because I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It goes from when he's an adult to when he's back to being a kid again, back to being an adult, back to being a kid, back to being a teenager. It was just a bit off in some scenes. Also, there were times in the movie where there wasn't any time to slow down, because throughout the entire film, there's so many high point after high point after high point, that there's really no time to slow down and also to get to know the characters as well. I mean, it seems as if the film expects you to know who these characters are and things like that. Now, I will get into a spoiler, but I'm going to reveal that spoiler, after I give this, after I give my grade. So, I mean, overall, like I said, I did like Man of Steel. I didn't love this movie, but at the same time, I didn't hate this movie too. It was good, but it could have been better. So, I think I'm gonna give Man of Steel a B plus. I think that is the right grade. Now, here we go. Spoiler warning. Um, Spoiler warning for Man of Steel. All right. Um, the scene at the end where Superman breaks General Zod's neck. There were a lot of people who complained that it was a cop-out ending and that, it violated the code. Like, oh, hey, Superman doesn't kill and everything. What's up with that? They're breaking a rule. To be honest, that quite didn't bother me as much. I rewatched this movie last night, and it really didn't bug me that much because, I mean, I could understand the emotional feelings on why Superman did that. And because he realized that the people of Earth were more important to him than the people on Krypton, because he grew up with the people on Earth more than he did on the people of Krypton. What bothered me, however, is like in the last 10 minutes how it was basically, or like the whole sequence, like in the third act was just completely glossed over. It's like, oh, all these buildings and all these explosions happen, and then like in the last 10 minutes, it's like people act as if like, nothing happened. It's like, what the hell? I mean, like the city basically just got destroyed, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go back to our daily lives like it didn't happen. I thought that was kind of silly. But like I said, overall, I didn't like Man of Steel, excuse me on that. I didn't love Man of Steel, but I didn't hate Man of Steel. So, I think a B plus is what this movie deserves. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I'm hoping, hopefully I'll see it this weekend. So, just out of curiosity, what did you guys think of Man of Steel? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you kind of in between? Just leave a comment in the section below. So, and this is Joshua Birdwell saying, keep reading and watching.